I rise today to encourage my colleagues to vote for yes for Senate Bill 148. Senate Bill 148 was drafted in response to the actions of the International Organization for Standardization, or IOS, which approved a new merchant code for identifying purchases at firearms retailers in September of 2022. Those of you who are following this may remember that 6 months after the approval of the merchant code, Senator Elizabeth Warren and other U.S. Senate Democrats sent a letter to the Secretary of the Treasury and Attorney General Merrick Garland urging them to use the Treasury and Department of Justice to issue federal guidance encouraging these merchant codes. In December of 2023, 49 anti-gun members sent a letter to each of the major credit card companies urging them to implement this merchant code in states where it is still legal to do so. If adopted, this merchant code would allow credit card companies to track lawful firearm purchases across the country, violating the privacy of customers and threatening the constitutionality of protected Second Amendment rights of Americans. The goal of this would be, by the admission of proponents like the New York Times, the identification of suspicious purchases of firearms and ammunition, blocking those purchases, and even notifying law enforcement and FBI of the purchase. My bill would protect both firearm retailers and owners of firearms from financial discrimination by prohibiting a financial institution from requiring the use of a firearms identifying code or declining a lawful transaction based solely on whether the transaction is assigned a firearms code or disclosing financial records. It also prohibits any governmental entity from keeping a list or registry of firearms or firearm owners. Passing this legislation would bring Ohio in line with 7 other states, most recently Texas, that have passed similar bills to protect the financial privacy of law-abiding gun owners and retailers. Senate Bill 148 passed out of the Veterans and Public Safety Committee with no opponent testimony, and this process involved working closely with stakeholders such as the National Shooting Sports Foundation, the National Rifle Association, the Buckeye Firearms Association, and very importantly, the Ohio Bankers League. I would like to thank all of these folks for their collaboration, as well as my staff, Lydia Campbell and Caleb Stutzman, for their work on this legislation. Thank you all for your time and consideration, and again, I urge a yes vote on Senate Bill 148.